Thank you just so much for joining us this beautiful evening for our panel event with Be the Match organization. Be the Match is an organization that manages the nation's largest marrow registry that matches donors like you and me to cancer and blood disease patients in need of a stem cell or bone marrow donation. My name is Anna. I'm with the Whole U, the University of Washington's Holistic Wellness Engagement Program. My team and I have had just such the pleasure of working with Be the Match and some of our panelists over the last year to spread awareness about Be the Match at UW and hopefully get as many Huskies as possible to join the registry. I am very honored today to welcome our four panelists who will each take some time to tell you their personal story and help us all to understand why it's so important that we consider joining the registry and, especially talk a little bit more about the need for mixed race and minority backgrounds on the registry. Starting off, we are joined by Dr. Alexis Harris, a UW professor who was diagnosed with MDS in 2016 and is now in remission after receiving a cord blood donation. Thanks for being here, Alexis. We also have Dorian Price, an ALML leukemia patient who's looking for his match currently, and an engineer joining us from Texas. We are also joined by Ty Velasquez, a life-saving donor who has gotten the call to donate, been through the process. She's going to tell us more about that. Ty's a mindfulness and meditation instructor and a director at a local nonprofit in Seattle. Last but certainly not least, we have Cliff Ackerman, who's with us from Be the Match organization. So thank you all for taking some time out of your Monday evening to join us and kind of share your stories with us. First and foremost, we really wanted to kind of give everyone a little bit of an introduction to what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to play for you a short YouTube video that follows Lauren. And Lauren is a life-saving donor with Be the Match. And I'm hoping this video just kind of brings us into the mind space for the next hour and a half we have together. It's a really compelling video for demystifying what being a donor on the registry really looks like. And I know Ty will also help with us, bring us into that space as well when she shares her story. So let me get my screen share ready for you.
One of the main reasons I did decide to join the registry is because the lack of African American representation on the registry. It's our responsibility to register because, a lot of times we're given the shorthand in life period, but this is something that we can control. Just like voting, you can do this. I think I was at happy hour. I got a call about the registry and I was like, what? So I was kind of freaking out because I saw this episode of House, and I saw that episode where the guy had to give bone marrow to his brother, and he was sick too, so he couldn't go under anesthesia, so it was just traumatic. I was like, sheesh. But, come to find out, there's 2 different ways to donate. Everyone was like really supportive, and they were like, oh, that's so amazing. So it made me feel even better about my decision.
She's excited, of course, but she's like, okay, what happens now? And from that point, then that's where we begin to order filgrastim, prepare for the injections, and then we just wait for that date to arrive and then first injection.
My Be the Match specialist, Chelsea, gave me my first injections. She taught me how to teach my friend to do it. It hurt a little bit because I was nervous, Shelby was nervous, so we had a little shakiness going on.
It took us like 20 minutes to settle down and actually okay, we're gonna get through this. We're gonna do it. We had to play some music, get hype. Like, okay, we can do this, we can get through it.
The injections hurt like a normal shot, but taking off those super strength Band-Aids probably was the worst part because I have hair on the back of my arm and I don't know, I just can't rip it off. It's stuff that's kind of get over yourself. It's not that big of a deal. So there's really nothing. I have nothing to complain about.
I think she saw the big picture, she's saving someone's life, and nothing was gonna stop her from saving that kid's life. She made it through anything, Band-Aids and all. The
person I'm donating to is a 1-year-old boy. He's probably seen more needles in his life than I ever have. I just don't see how me, a 21-year-old grown woman, could just act so scared when he's so brave. So that's just what I think about, and I just get over it. Think about if it was your child. Think about if it was your sister. You don't let fear be the only reason that you don't help someone or save a life.
I mean, I can say a lot for her because I've had donors who came here and did the whole process and then sent me a text and said I can't do it. So for Lauren to be her full of personality but do what she said she was gonna do, I can respect that and I can handle that.
When you are called and you decide that, oh, no, I don't want to do this anymore, that's another like little girl, little boy, grown boy that is heartbroken. Your life is just as important as theirs, and your life isn't the one that's in jeopardy. The only thing that is going to be going on with you is some inconvenience, and that's okay, because that's life. But in the long run, you're helping somebody, and I feel like that should be the most important thing to you.
And she's gonna save a little boy's life, and I think that's very heartwarming and it's inspiring. Like, she makes me want to go get on the registry, and she's gonna remember this for the rest of her life. I'm gonna remember this for the rest of my life.
I just want him to know that there is someone out there that looks like him, that it was able and willing to donate their blood stem cells so he could fulfill the life that he was supposed to fulfill. And I just hope that he grows, he eats all his vegetables, he gets all A's, like me. And he's just happy, and I hope one day down the line, I'm able to meet him, and I'm able to thank him for making me a better person.
All right, Alexis, I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Anna, for helping us organize this event. I am excited to that you all showed up. I know we're zoomed out, and so we really, and the sun's coming out if you're in Seattle. So thank you for showing up tonight to help engage with us around this important topic. I also want to say that acknowledge the moment that we're in with all of the police killings, frankly. And I think many of us might feel helpless when we watch the news. But this is really something that we can do to save our own lives, is to get on the registry. So I really appreciate you being here, and hopefully you'll take the next step. If you can't do it yourself, if you can get someone else to get on the registry. So I'll go ahead and share my screen with you. So I think many of you know I'm a professor and I talk a lot. But when I talk about something so personal, I get really emotional and nervous. So please bear with me as I roll through this presentation. I also want to say that I'm sharing my cancer story and how I went through my battle, but want to acknowledge that we all go through it differently. And so I'm not saying this is one way that you should go through it, but I just want to help share my story of fighting cancer. So this is my life pre-cancer. I have to say, actually, today is my 25th Delta anniversary. 25 years ago, I crossed the sands. And so it's a picture of my, these were all pictures a year prior to me being diagnosed. So we went to Phoenix, Arizona and celebrated our 20-year Delta anniversary. I am a mom. At the time, my kids were 5 and 8, and we like to think we were superheroes at the time. I'm a professor. I teach at the University of Washington. I usually teach large classes, so I was in the classroom. And my research was at the peak of my career, frankly. In 2015, I spoke at the White House and shared my research, and my book was supposed to come out in June, my first book, June 2016. So this was my life, and I share this with you to let you know how much of a slap in the face cancer was for me. On May 26th, I met with my new doctor, an oncologist at Seattle Cancer Care Alliance. And after a year of symptoms and tests and monitoring, I learned that I had something called myelodysplastic syndrome, MDS, and it was a precursor to AML. So how I knew, a lot of times people ask me that, is I am a gym rat. I like to work out. And I had a great cycling teacher, and I would do indoor spin classes, and she would regularly do Tabatas. So we do 20 seconds on real hard, 10 seconds off, and we'd sort of repeat that. And in about April of 2015, when we do the Tabatas, I'd get like asthma attacks, and that wasn't cool. I couldn't work out. So I went to my doctor and complained, and she took my complaint seriously, and I was fortunate with that. And she did some blood tests. But it took a whole year to get a bone marrow biopsy and to get to May 26th. My oncologist told me that I had 18 to 24 months to live without treatment. So obvious choice was I needed treatment right away. And she told me I needed to put my life on hold for at least a year. No work, just stop everything. So that was May 26th. We waited till June 24th to celebrate my baby's 9th birthday on that Saturday. And then Monday went into the hospital and started treatment right away. It was intensive inpatient chemo for 5 days straight. We were able to put it in remission by July 2016, but I needed a transplant. My doctor told me it was going to come back, and so I needed at some point to have a transplant. I knew at the time, just from the news and what I learned when I was in college about the racial disparities in finding a transplant for people of color. Being African American, you have about 23% chance of finding someone that matches you. You can see the other statistics here. My ancestry, my father was African American and Filipino, my mom was white. And so that made me have a really low likelihood of finding a donor who would match me for the transplant. This was my 20-year-old self trying to save my 40-year-old self. So the day that we got notice that my insurance approved the search for a match, I received this email from Be the Match. And it said, when you join the National Marrow Donor Program's Be the Match registry, you did so knowing that one day you may help save a life. You appeared as a possible marrow match for a patient considering a transplant. So it's a double-blind process. They look for people with the similar HLA typing, but they don't look at the names. So they emailed me because my 20-year-old self, when I was at the University of Washington, signed up for the registry. So my 20-year-old self literally was trying to save my 40-year-old self, and obviously that wouldn't work. My twin brother wasn't a match. I couldn't save myself. There were 2 potential donors that they had notified me about, but once they reached out to them, both declined to move forward. So they were on the registry, but they decided that they didn't want to go forward with the process, which was extremely disappointing. And I just remember that moment, how scary it was in that moment, trying to find a stranger who would save my life. I knew there was someone out there that could save my life. It was a matter of finding them in that moment. We were told that I should move forward with the transplant, and there was a 6 out of 8, which is called a mismatch transplant. And we were told that was my plan B, and that's what I needed to move forward for. So we literally went to Seattle Cancer Care to meet with the transplant doctor to learn about the procedure and then sign the paperwork to move forward. But we were lucky, I'll say it was God intervened, and we met with the transplant doc whose specialty was cord blood transplants. And he was just coming out with an article. In fact, it was embargoed from JAMA, but he shared it with us on the similarities in doing cord blood transplant with live 100% donor matches. And cord blood is when the baby's born, the nurses can take the cord, clean it, the umbilical cord, clean it really well and extract the blood from the cord. And that bag of blood saved my life because the parent decided to donate the cord blood. That's that right there. So I went into the clinical trial using the donated umbilical cord blood. This was my transplant, and it was on September 21st. And if any of you are Earth, Wind, and Fire fans, I put this up here so I don't cry when I think about this day because it was so emotional. But there's that song, do you remember the 21st night of September? So every time you hear that, try and find someone to get on the registry. I'd appreciate that. We tried to, in some way, bring in the kids. So the kids named, I had 2 cord blood bags. One was Team Priscilla. The kids picked Priscilla and John to donate, and Priscilla won. And so that's that. During this process, so many friends wanted to do something, but I couldn't have flowers, I couldn't have visitors. And I also really needed my cancer to matter. I didn't know if I was going to live coming through this. So I needed it to make sense in my mind. And so I had my amazing SANS organized 7 bone marrow registry events, sign-up events in Seattle and Houston, DC, New York, and New Orleans. This was one here at Garfield High School where I graduated from. Ty spoke at that event. And it was neat. We had several hundred people register across the 7 states events, and 2 lives were saved, one from the Garfield event and one from I work with the Department of Justice in Obama's Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., and they had an event in my honor, and they found someone to save a life. So 2 people so far we know have donated and saved lives from that. Also, when I was starting to come back to life and to work, I met a great person, Tori Fairhurst, who worked for Be the Match at the time. And she said, let's do something bigger. And had the idea of doing a partnership with the University of Washington. And so I met with President Kelsey, and she was 100% supportive. And then I met Lauren Updike at Whole U, and they graciously are housing this partnership. So in fall of 2018, we kicked off the Be the Match partnership here at the University of Washington, with our aim is to educate our community, our alum, our students, our staff about how you could be a real superhero and save someone's life. Just to conclude, I put up here to make it positive, some reflecting back and forward, just reminding us of the importance of good health. Had I not been working out and know my baseline and what I could do, who knows when I would have figured out that I had cancer. For me, having faith, trusting the process, and being compliant is really what got me through. I know I'm going to die. But I knew I wasn't going to die from cancer at that time. And that really helped. Another thing, and so I can hopefully save you this moment in your lives, was facing my own mortality. It helped me reflect. It forced me to reflect. And the questions that kept coming up in my mind was I good enough? And it wasn't about the damn book. It wasn't about articles published or my career. It was about my family. It was about, was I a good enough mom? Was I a good enough wife? Was I a good enough daughter? And so for me, this experience has really helped me redefine what success is in my life. And that's about my relationships. And so just a takeaway that I hope you can take away from this conversation. So my motto today is grind, grit, and grace. Grind, I work hard, play hard. I try and be 100% present with my kids. And sometimes I may say that's not true, but I try and be 100% present with my kids, and I try and be 100% present when I'm at work. And I know that hard times are going to pass, and that's the grit, is thinking through the character, the courage, the resolve it takes to get through whatever hardships we face, and to really live by my principles and priorities. And then the biggest thing is grace, grace for myself and protecting that, and grace for other people, giving folks space. We don't ever understand what people are going through in any minute. And so I've learned a lot from having cancer. And I look forward to engaging in a dialogue with you all about this after we hear from our great our panelists. If I can stop sharing. Sorry. There we go. And I'm going to pass the torch on to Ty, who is the real superhero in all of this. So, Ty.
Thank you, Sor Alexis, for sharing your story. Well done. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I haven't even started talking.
It's okay. Take your time, Ty. This is hard. This is hard.
So thank you for being here. Sometimes you receive a letter that touches your soul. Part of the letter reads, "We want you to know that we thought there might be angels, but now we know there are angels among us." Excuse me. Now we know there are angels among us. At the beginning of this illness, we were overwhelmed and so much was unknown. Today, we are in the hospital preparing for transplant because you are making this possible. We are here with hope in our hearts and deeply grateful to you. Bless you with good health, happiness, and love. And then you receive another letter, and part of that letter reads, "Again, you've come to help by sharing stem cells and keeping our hope lifted. Your kind note is framed and visible for all who enter our home to see the generous compassion within you. There is no greater gift than to be a helper of mankind. And to you, we are grateful from the bottom of our hearts. You are the angel among us. To you and those you love, we send prayers your way for good health, happiness, and love. With great respect, your recipient. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm grateful to be here in honor and support of Dorian Price and in honor of the Be the Match program and all of the people waiting for transplants. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my story and encourage our community to join the Be the Match registry. My name is Ty Velasquez, and I am a bone marrow donor and a stem cell donor. So I was a match. Once upon a time, in a hotel ballroom in downtown Seattle, I attended a health and safety fair sponsored by my job. There were several organizations and city and county agencies there, all promoting health and safety. I happened to pass by a table manned with volunteers soliciting people to sign up for what at the time was called the National Marrow Donor Program, now known as the Be the Match Registry. The volunteers were two Black women who explained to me what the Be the Match Registry was and shared that there was a dearth of donors of color. It was difficult for patients of color to find a match for potential life-saving procedures. Quite simply, more donors of color were needed. To sign up for the registry, all I needed to do was have my cheek swabbed and fill out an information sheet. So I did, and then I was on my way. About 3 or 4 years later, I was living in California when I got a letter from the Be the Match program saying that I was a potential match for someone who was living with acute myelogenous leukemia. What? Honestly, I had completely forgotten that I had signed up to be a marrow donor. I totally forgot. I had even moved to another state, and yet they found me because someone had a need. Soon after, I was in contact with a donor center coordinator. I learned that I was a potential match for a Black man in his mid-50s who lived in the Midwest and had been diagnosed with acute myelogenous leukemia. That's all I knew. What I learned at the time was that some blood diseases could be treated and even cured using bone marrow and/or peripheral blood stem cells. How many of you actually know what bone marrow is? And if you don't know, and I didn't know until I signed up for the registry, bone marrow is the soft tissue inside your bones that produces blood-forming cells. So blood-forming cells are immature cells that can grow into red blood cells, white blood cells, or platelets. That's bone marrow. That's what's inside of you. Like, that's what's inside of us. And I just want to pause a moment to appreciate the miracle that you are, that our bodies are. It's very amazing stuff. So as the Be the Match website explains, a bone marrow transplant takes a donor's healthy blood-forming cells and puts them into the patient's bloodstream, where they begin to grow and make healthy red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. So in short, a bone marrow transplant replaces diseased cells with healthy cells. So I want you to think for a moment about all the diseases for which there is no cure. Think about the millions of dollars of research, or spent on research rather, and the millions of people who are affected by a disease and hoping for a cure all around the world. Millions of dollars in research and millions of people hoping for a cure. And now I want you to sit for a moment, because I'm a meditation teacher, and sit in silence with the idea that you could be somebody's cure. you could be someone's hope. So sit in silence and let that rest on your heart for just a moment, what that would mean to someone. That's what I did. I sat in silence with the understanding that I could actually make a tangible difference in someone's life. And so I said yes. I said yes to being a bone marrow donor. Now, what did that actually require of me? It required several conversations with the donor center coordinator throughout the entire process. I had a few different appointments to collect samples of my blood and make sure that I was healthy enough to donate. The process of donating my bone marrow was a surgical procedure that took place in a hospital. Doctors used needles to withdraw liquid marrow from both sides of the back of my pelvic bone. I was given anesthesia and felt no pain during the donation. And from check-in to discharge, it was approximately a half-day procedure. My recovery was around 1 week, and I experienced some soreness in my lower back. I do remember walking slowly and gingerly for the first few days. But in the grand scheme of things, it was a small sacrifice to make in service to the well-being of someone else. A few weeks later, I was informed that my recipient was doing well, but he needed a little more. He was a sizable man, and I, at the time, was somewhat petite. The amount of bone marrow that you're allowed to donate is partially dependent on your size. So this meant that my donation needed to be supplemented to fill the need that my recipient had. I couldn't donate more bone marrow due to my size, but I could give a peripheral blood stem cell donation, or PBSC. So that's what I did. PBSC donation is a non-surgical procedure called apheresis. For a few days leading up to my donation, I was given injections of a drug called filgrastim, hope I pronounced that right, to increase the number of blood-forming cells, also called blood stem cells, in my bloodstream. I experienced a few bone and muscle aches as a result of taking the filgrastim, but it did not prohibit me from any of my daily activities. My PBSC donation was divided into 2 apheresis sessions of 4 hours each. My blood was removed through a needle in one arm and passed through a machine that collected only the blood-forming cells. The remaining blood was returned to me through a needle in my other arm. One time for science. It was a painless procedure, and I passed the time reading magazines and watching TV. Throughout the entire process of donating bone marrow and peripheral blood stem cells, honestly, the greatest sacrifice I made was time. Time for all the conversations, for the appointments, for the procedures, and for recovery. In truth, my sacrifice of time was a priceless gift to the recipient of more time. Time with his loved ones, and time to do whatever he was put on this earth to do. It was well worth my time, and it would be a privilege to do it all again. Sometimes you receive a letter that touches your soul. After I donated bone marrow and after I donated stem cells, I received the following letter. In October, we wrote to let you know how grateful we were in keeping our hope lifted by sharing stem cells. During these difficult months, we would pray your cells would dance. Although we know you have a generous heart and you are the angel among us, we truly hope you enjoy dancing because your stem cells are dancing beautifully. Rest well tonight, knowing how special you are. And as always, to you and those you love, we send prayers your way for good health, happiness, and love. With great respect, your donor. So to Our community, I invite you today, if you haven't already, to sign up for the Be the Match registry. And I invite you to be the match. Thank you. And I'll pass it over to Mr. Dorian Price.
Thank you so much, Ty.
Thank you.
That's hard to follow up. Crazy thing about it though. Oh, Anna, are we gonna play that clip?
Yeah, let's definitely play the clip. Do you want to just introduce yourself to everyone first?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dorian Price. Thank you all for being here. I'm battling. I'm a survivor, but my story is one of hope.
So we have this wonderful video, and it's a long video. We'll definitely share the clip. We invite you to go watch it. We're just going to play a quick 2-minute clip. And this is a video that Dorian's fraternity brothers put together for him.
I put a call out for action. Called out our regional vice president. Regional vice president said, we must do something. Put out the call to our Brothers Keeper chair, Brother Ron Peters. He said, we must do something. I also put a call out to the brothers of the I-20 corridor, Delta Sigma chapter, the Eta Chi chapter, and also the your chapter, the Eta Kappa chapter. And brother, I would like to present to you today a check in the amount of $6,606 for your support, for whatever you may need it for, to help you get through this thing. Not only that, brother, we also have a gift bag for you with some personal items that you need to help you when you go to the hospital and when you come out the hospital, some things, personal things that you need. Outside of that, we also placed a call to your regional coordinator for Be the Match. And that's why you got tagged in the post on Thursday, because he knew we were coming and we wanted to rally the call for all D9 organizations to come forth and somebody take a swab to Be the Match. Brother, we love you, we're here for you, and trust me, if you need any one of us, all you have to do is call. But you don't have to call, because guess what? We're gonna call you. We love you, man. Invictus, out of the night that covers me, black is the fifth from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my carpet with soul. In the fair clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeon is a chance, my head is bloody but I'm bowed. Beyond this place of rapid tears, looms but the horrors of the shade. And yet the minutes of the years finally shall find me unafraid. Imagine not how straight the gate, I charge with punishment to scroll. I'm the master of my fate, I'm the captain of soul. We gotta let one last thing for you, brother. I told you, one of us is gonna be the match. And on today, we're gonna swab and send our kits in. So brothers, at this time, we ask that you would take your kits out, and we ask that you would swab
All right, I would love to keep it playing, but to keep us going along, I'm going to go ahead and let Dorian continue to tell his story. And thank you just so much for being here today, Dorian.
No problem. Thank you, Anna. So just a little backstory on me. My name is Dorian Price. I am now 33 years old. I was diagnosed when I was 31 on June 21st of 2019. Prior to being diagnosed, I was a physically fit person who worked out 5 to 6 days a week, far bigger than what I am now. I also played sports for the majority of my life prior to this. And in my situation, I was asymptomatic. I was in the gym actually the week that I was diagnosed. And I started to begin to feel a pain in the lower portion of my leg. me being the hard-headed person that I am, I just took some Tylenol, put some ice on it, and kept it moving day after day, until I woke up one morning and I couldn't walk. So that's just an idea of how quick life can change. I went to an urgent care and they ran some tests and pretty much told me, hey, we need to rush you over to the hospital. That's not what I was expecting to hear. I thought I was gonna get a boot, get some meds, and get sent back home. I literally left my TV on. I expected to come back home after that, but no, I went to ICU and I spent a week in ICU before being transferred to the oncology ward, where I spent an additional 4 weeks. The entire time that I was in the hospital, I underwent chemotherapy. I had 2 rounds those first 5 weeks. I also went through a process where they actually had to remove cells out of my body. So just to give you an example, I have AML leukemia, and I have the type that is classified as a blast. So the average person has between 4,000 to 11,000 white blood cells within their body. At the time that I was diagnosed, I had over 200,000. So while in ICU, my first night, I had tubes inserted into my neck and 2 major arteries, and they had to begin to filter out and take a majority of those cells out of my body, or my physical health would be worse. So again, I'm going to urgent care thinking to get some meds. Next thing I know, I'm in ICU with a tube in my neck. Not expected at all, but that was life for me. And after being discharged, I have continued, and to this date, I'm still going through chemotherapy. But life for me literally consists of chemotherapy. So initially when I was discharged, I would have a round of chemo for a week in the hospital. I would get released and I would be back into the hospital 2 weeks later with an infection of some sort due to me not having an immune system. So you all have lived the isolated life now due to COVID-19. I've been living it since June 21st of 2019. And my isolation is far worse than your isolation. And I'm not comparing the two. I'm just giving you an idea of what it is to be in my situation. So experiencing those infections, I've battled fevers of 104 and 105 degrees for multiple days. I have literally been in beds where I'm laying in ice in order for them to bring my temperature back down so that I could be properly medicated. And as of now, I've completed 14 rounds of chemotherapy. I also spend 2 days during the week at the hospital receiving blood transfusions. This is my third arm right here. This has been with me multiple times from arm to arm since being diagnosed. I go in, those who know me, I joke about it. I say I'm going to get my little bump of juice and then I'll be home. And that's life for me, whether it's a blood transfusion or chemotherapy. I have had rounds that consisted of me actually administering chemotherapy shots to myself. I've had those injections that I've had to do. So again, none of this is what I expected for my life. I went to school for engineering, but since 2019, I feel as though I'm in med school right now. I'm getting a good lesson on oncology. So this opportunity, partnering with Be The Match, has been a platform for me. And I have done my best to take full advantage of it, because I know that there are a lot of people who don't have this blessing that I have right now, who aren't afforded this opportunity. And I don't think there's anything special about me. I've just been blessed. Ty, I blame this on you. That's crazy because just being transparent with you, I didn't even cry when I was diagnosed. When they came in the room and said, hey, we think you have cancer, leukemia, I didn't even cry. And that's not just to be a superhero, but that's just, you're overcome with shock. You don't feel anything. You don't even know what's going on. And throughout the journey, you battle a lot of things, but you begin to do, as Ty said, and as Alexis mentioned, you look at life in a different perspective, and you start to become more considerate and more empathetic and more impassioned with other people in their situations. My family doesn't live here, but I've had to learn that this is a battle for them as well. You know, my mother and my dad are not here. They're here, they're alive, but they don't live in close proximity to me. So I've had to learn that it has been an adjustment, not just for me, but for them as well. So just think, after all that I've told you, that actually could be any of us. And I'm not wishing that on anyone, because I know what I experienced, and I can assure you that there are things that I have not shared with you that are far worse than what I've shared with you. But knowing that this could happen to anyone, I just ask that you all receive this information, that you share this information, that you meditate on it, as Ty asked, and that you do your part. We all have a purpose in life, and your purpose could be to save the life of myself or someone else in my shoes. So with that being said, I'll pass it over to Cliff to break down Be the Match in the process for you all.
Hey, thanks so much, Dorian. Really appreciate everyone sharing their story, especially Ty and Alexis. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen here. All right, y'all can see my screen, correct?
Yes, looks great.
Okay, thanks. So I just wanted to, also thank, the whole U at Washington, at the University of Washington, Anna and Lauren. Thank you so much for this incredible opportunity. I'm Cliff Ackerman. I'm with Be the Match Registry. I just wanted to share a little bit about myself. I do work for Be the Match for 16 years now, but I started off as a volunteer after I received a blood stem cell transplant. It's very coincidental, though, that I happen to be a twin, just like Alexis is, and nobody matched me. I actually have two older siblings, two older sisters, and a fraternal twin sister, and no one matched. But the picture on my right, on my left here, is me at MD Anderson going through a transplant. After almost 2.5 years, I had 2.5 years of chemo, radiation, monoclonal therapy, rituximab. So it metastasized and spread. I've actually had my spleen taken out. I've had a heart surgery before my transplant. I've had the transplant. And multiple other, surgeries, hernia repairs because of the surgeries I've had. But this is my donor. This is my blood brother. This is the brother. This is almost like the brother I always wanted. I had 3 sisters, but this is my blood brother that was a better match than my own twin sister, and that's Perry. And that's how I got involved by volunteering with Be the Match for about 4 years. And then it's been almost 17 years with Be the Match now. So, there's a lot. And just like Ty was saying, I like to feel that they are our angels on earth. That's what I kind of call some of our donors, angels on earth. A lot of times, people like even Dorian was saying, we didn't have any choice. We kind of got thrown this thing called, cancer and, blood cancers, but people do have a choice to join the registry. They do have a choice to make a difference. You know, we like to think of it as we are a community transplanting hope and a cure, especially with, you know, the University of Washington and Husky Nation. So would love for you to get involved and kind of share about this, but let me kind of go on. So our mission would be the match is to save lives through cellular therapy. Okay. And kind of in short, it's basically like you've been hearing, we provide, you know, a hope and a possible cure for patients. This is little Thor. He's still looking for a match. He's a searching patient. Okay. But Be the Match has been around for 33 years. And even like Ty said, we are the national marrow donor program for the US, but there is a huge health disparity and we need to get more people that are ethnically diverse on the registry, you know, because together we can save more Black lives. And this is Joey, a recent donor, donated through that apheresis that Ty was talking about a 6-hour day. So yeah, we need to be able to share this. And we even have like a fun 10 for 10 challenge. Share this with 10 of your friends and family. See if you can let them know the incredible work that's happening at the University of Washington, you know, especially, you know, at the whole U and what we're presenting to you. See if you could get 10 of your friends and family to possibly even share the link and get involved with Be the Match. I wanted to share with you here, we were talking about a lot of adults, there's all of us, but cancer, you know, affects everybody. This is a searching patient. This is little Ruby. She was diagnosed with sickle cell disease. A lot of people know that sickle cell disease affects primarily African Americans, but could also affect Hispanics and others, but mainly African Americans. And just to let you know really quick, Ruby's, she's just about 4 years old. She's been hospitalized 27 times and has undergone 4 surgeries, numerous whole blood and platelet transfusions. And because of all this in her short life, she is even learned to help the nurses check her vitals and take her temperature. And the picture to the right, she's a sickle cell warrior. And so this is her in her little outfit and her cape, that she's a sickle cell warrior and she's going to beat this. So, but we need your help because Ruby's looking for a matched unrelated donor also. Okay. And so our vision, you know, we have is equal outcomes for all, but the situation we're in is, you know, right now on the registry are the populations that are affected significantly. There's a problem with ethnically diverse donors being underrepresented. So we would love to add more African American, Blacks, Hispanics, Asian, multi-race onto the registry. Everyone does not have an equal chance of finding that match. They do not. And we're trying to change that. That's why Be the Match is involved with a lot of colleges. We get involved with HBCUs. We get involved with the Divine Nine and the Alphas, Sigma Gamma Rho. We actually have paid interns on college campuses. So we're putting resources and time and money into this. We're not just talking, we're walking the walk about this. That's why we're spending the time to present to you. But you all have a unique opportunity. Even with our vision, equal outcomes for all, you all have a vision to help us and can make this happen. Okay? I just want to share this quick video.
This is bigger than numbers. It's about connecting donors with patients like me. And when everyone joins our fight against blood cancer, your race, my race, can experience what we all deserve. Life.
So, and I know we were even talking, they're saying about the race against time. For some patients, this is actually a race against time. And where we're talking about time, even with Ty, like all she gave was time to do this. That was her sacrifice. But what she gave back was actually time for the patient and the family to actually live and celebrate life. So I wanted to break this down a little bit more really quick, that the actual makeup of the registry, the people, the registrants or the members on the registry, so to speak, we've got over 22 million. But if we break it down, only about 4% are African-American, Black, Okay, about 4% Asian, 7% African American. There's multi-race, but the thing about this is that there's a health disparity, and because of that, she touched on that. Ty touched on that already with this health disparity and likelihood of finding a match. But we need to increase this. This is not satisfactory to us. This is huge. We have a 5-year strategic plan. We are attacking this and wanting to get more people involved with Be the Match. Okay. And so it correlates to this likelihood of finding a match in the health disparity. Okay. So with only 4% African American, that means that an African American patient is only about 23% likely going to find that match. Okay. I know Alexis even showed a different slide about the same thing. But this is not, like I said, this is alarming to us, and we want to change this. The other factor is 70% of the time, and you don't even have to be a patient. I'm just saying, it does anyone in the world, 70% of the time, you are not going to match in your family. That's why we had to start these volunteer registries across the world. Okay, there's about 50 of them. Okay, there's about 50 registries across the world. Be the Match operates the U.S. So this is one of the kind of facts we'd like to say that, to anybody, did you know that if you needed this help and hope, 70% of the time, you're going to have to look for somebody outside of your family. And that's why we need everybody to step up, to get involved. We said there's a 10 for 10 challenge to share that with friends and family. Okay, so who are we looking for? We're looking for younger members that are going to provide these outcomes, right? So we know that people are 18 to 44. And like I said, there's other registries that are even 30 to 35. They stop. The UK or Canada, 17 and 18 to 30, 35. That's it. The Be the Match is 18 to 44. But the younger the member or the donor, the better outcome. That's why doctors are requesting these donors about 90% of the time. That's why we're talking to you at the University of Washington and reaching out. Younger donors provide a better outcome. The patient responds better. And even diving in a little bit deeper, that doctors are really looking at 18 to 32, okay? 2/3 of the time, that's what they're kind of looking at. That's why we're really kind of wanting to bring awareness and inform you about this unique opportunity to become a volunteer member and to potentially, at some time, possibly save a life, okay? And 25% of all donors are in this college age, okay, are college students. A quarter of the donors that are being worked up. So the diseases that are treatable, we kind of talked about, even with Mr. Dorian Price was AML. We said Ruby with sickle cell, right? 70 diseases can be treated with a blood stem cell transplant. Even if you just remember leukemia and sickle cell, that's incredible. But we can cure 70 blood disease. It's almost like the same 70-70 with the 70% not matching in your family. Kind of that's like a fun factoid to remember. Okay, so the 2 ways to collect, there's a small discomfort to save a life. Absolutely. We never belittle or anything, but 80% of the time, about 80% of the time, and we've talked about this already, Ty has donated twice. Okay, that's kind of unusual for the same donor just because of the size of the patient. But 80% of the time, you're going to be requested to do this blood stem cell collection or donation. That's like donating, again, plasma, platelets, or double red, and 20% is the marrow donation. And we do have to dispel the myths. Dispel those myths because people think they saw it on TV or Grey's Anatomy, a movie with Will Smith, 7 pounds. So it's not as bad as it is on TV. You're under, like you said, you're under anesthesia. You do not feel any pain or discomfort. Okay. But some of the important kind of facts and staying committed and why we need committed donors, because approximately 50% of the members or the donors that go on do not follow through. We already talked about that, with Alexis and some of her donors, and she had to go to cord blood, right? This gives false hope to patients and their family. We know that there's lives at stake. Right? We said there's over 20 million on the registry, 4% identify as Black or African American. But the thing is, even diving in a little bit deeper, is 3 out of 4 Black or African Americans will not find that match. And that's why we're trying to up those odds, because it also goes in that after being identified, 2 out of 3 African American Blacks will not donate And we just need to make sure that we're informing people, bringing awareness, they understand the process, and that can, like I said, we're a community. We're a community transplanting hope and a cure. So, we just, we just want people to understand, people have the altruistic giving, they're donating blood, right? So how do we do it? We get involved. It starts with you. The first step is with you to join. Share this amongst your friends and family, right? So we have that, again, the 10 for 10 kind of challenge. But what you do, it's simply, there's actually a UW text to join. There's a QR code. We even have a link, okay? But it's very simple. You join with the QR code or the text to join. You get that text message back. You fill out the digital registration, right? You can be doing this now. You can start the process and start joining now. You get a kit mailed to you. It's already prepaid. You get the kit in the mail in about a week. You swab your cheeks. You have a left side and a right side. There's 2 applicators. You send it back at no cost. And then we put you on the registry. It does take about 4 to 8 weeks to get on the registry, depending on how busy the time of year it is. And then you could potentially be available for someone anywhere in the world, okay? This can be anywhere in the world. So this is the thing we're talking about, share this amongst your friends and family throughout your campus, everything. But here's the code. It's really simple. And I tell you, I've already checked. We've got 50 people already joined, and it's an 83% completion rate, almost 83%, which is incredible. So we've already had people joining this with just simple UW that you text to 61474. Okay. So other ways to get involved really quick, right? So you're going to work with, I'm your local Be the Match up in Washington. We have representatives all over the country. Some of them are even supporting us on this call. Give a shout out to Christine Mantilla. Thank you so much in Southern Cal. She's been helping us with a lot of events. But you can do a virtual event like this. You can do a live event in your community, on your campus. Post this. Post with social media. Post our life-saving mission. Share and tell them how we can start saving more Black lives, right? There's the 10 for 10 challenge. We talked about that. I mean, we could work with you. We'll customize your own plan for you, your community. If you're in the Divine Nine, other sororities or fraternities, we can work with you in the alumni. There's lots of opportunities to bring awareness and inform people about this unique opportunity. Again, so I'm Cliff Ackerman. I'm with Be the Match Registry. Here's my email. And again, here's the code for you to join and become part of this, like, again, our community transplanting hope and a cure. We know Husky Nation is incredible. The University of Washington is incredible. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Well, thank you so much there, Cliff. We really, really appreciate, diving into the numbers and really looking at what is going on with the registry. And, all 3 of you, your stories are so inspirational. We really appreciate you taking the time to share your story and be vulnerable with us in this space. We have a good amount of time here. If anyone has any questions, please go ahead, raise your hand. I see a Clyde, it looks like your hand is raised. If you have a question, I welcome you to unmute, and I'll keep an eye here on the chat as well. Please, anyone can send a question in the chat, and we'll just go down first with the hand raises. Clyde, you have the floor.
Hello, I am Dorian's line brother here in Texas. I actually did not mean to press my hand up, but since you recognize me, I want to tell everybody thank you for sharing your stories, and continue to pray for everyone. And I have signed up to be a match, but I'll continue to be a representative and let people know to sign up as well.
Thanks, Clyde. And I see Dathan, your hand is up.
Yes. So thank you everybody for sharing your stories. So I am actually a professor here in the Department of Family Medicine at UW, but I also have the honor to have gone to college with Dorian, and he is my chapter brother in Alpha Phi Alpha. So I wouldn't miss this for the world. And he and I have had lots of conversations about what can I do? How can I help? So I've been on the registry since college, so probably 18, 19 years old. I'm pushing 40 now. So, my question, I guess, is to the registry is like, Okay, I've been on it this long. No, I've never received a call. I feel helpless because I want to help and I want to do something. I've contacted even my own personal physician to say, can I do some HLA mapping or something just to have it in hand? And can I compare it to what Dorian has? Like, what's the odds of you never being reached out to, even though this disparity exists amongst the Black population? It just kind of makes you feel a little bit helpless in that regard. Not making it a pity party, but you do want to help and you want to help those you love. So that's my question.
Well, I mean, I could grab some of that. I mean, thank you so much for being so passionate and getting involved in supporting Dorian. Some people may never get called. It all depends how, unique or common your HLA typing, and then you get that from your ancestors way, way back. So, but what you can do is you can share this information with friends and family. Like we're saying, share the link, have us come present, set up events in your area. There's definitely always an opportunity to help us with our life-saving mission. So, I mean, you can call me and contact me. I just put my email in the chat so that you can contact me and just copy and paste it. But yeah, there's definitely opportunities to get involved in your area with social media and share that. Like I said, some people never get contacted as a potential match. It just kind of all depends. Now, if you ever wanted to get privately tested too, to know, I mean, there's like other organizations that can give you those results and let you know. It's bonemarrowtest.com, and those are more for people that maybe don't want to be a volunteer donor on their so-called registry, but want to know their typing or want to help a loved one, so-called a loved one, but don't want to join. But thanks for bringing up that question.
One thing I'll add too, and anytime I get a chance to say this in public, I want to raise the point that the University of Washington Medical School does not have a cord blood collection program to this day, as far as I know. And so, if you're affiliated with UW Med, you can advocate. I mean, I really think cord blood is the way for many of us who don't have live donors. It's a route to cure our cancer. And so working with whatever hospital you're affiliated with to get a cord blood program set up would be amazing as well.
Thank you for your question. I would also say, obviously we love having you part of the University of Washington. And when we're back on campus and we're having our drives, and we're going to keep this program, this partnership going and try to reach as many students as we can, and faculty and staff as well. We'd love to have you out there with us.
I'll be there. I'm putting my email in the chat now so you can just reach out.
Perfect. So I'm keeping an eye here on the chat. And one of the first questions we have is, well, first and foremost, Danielle, I want to read off what you shared. Danielle says, I found out exactly 2 months ago that I'm a match for somebody, waiting back to see if I'm the best match so I can move forward with next steps. So grateful to be here. I hope I can help someone. Thanks, Danielle, for sharing. And you'll have to keep us all in the loop. We're super excited for you and your match. And Helene asks, she's hoping to learn a little bit more about being a match while having a history of cancer. Is it possible? Can you guys talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. So for most cancers, yeah, you mean you can't join the registry because it's like really on that molecular level, but there actually are some cancers that you can. It's more cancers that are in like the in situ or the very early stage 0. And it's mainly like bladder, cervical, breast, and melanoma. Those are the ones that are in like the very early stage 0, or they call it in situ. So it could be pre-melanoma, pre-skin cancer, stuff like that. But yeah, it's just because, like I said, some of these cancers could be really hiding and they're really, really nasty and tricky. So we don't want to give any. So like I said, but there's other ways to help, even if you can't. I mean, there's some autoimmunes you can join, some autoimmunes you can't. So we're just looking for the best cellular therapy for these patients. So we're really, I mean, even if it might not even be that. We have patients that want to donate, but they've taken their test and maybe their heart or their liver enzyme, something's not right. We will not let them join or go through it because we're the advocate for the donor. We're going to make sure that this is a rewarding and safe experience for the donor, and we're providing safe cellular therapy to the patient.
Alexis, I wasn't sure. Did you have anything to add there?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I know I can't donate anything.
All
Nobody
good. I'm
loves
reading like facial expressions here. Try to see when people have thoughts. And Cliff, I'm wondering, can you just follow up with that real quick? What does it look like when you are, going through this process and you want to register for your swab? Be the Match really kind of takes care of those questions for you, right? I mean, if anyone here is interested, it's definitely, like, it sounds like the message is to go join, and that part is figured out afterwards. Let's just make sure if you're valid to join the registry to start that process.
Right. So, I mean, because doing the digital registration, we kind of go through a little health screening. So it'll let you know if you can join. But we know when people join, that's one thing. And then it could be they get called 15, 20 years later, 6 years, and their health changes. So at the time that you become a potential match, like Ty, then we will actually go through a health screening, 60 questions. And then we'll actually draw some tubes of blood, and we'll actually make sure, like I said, so, they will go through an extensive, health history, labs, a physical exam with the doctor. We've even had people that have gone through this. And I remember one lady, she actually 6 months before, she had her mammogram, but then she came in, was going through the workup of becoming a donor, and we found that there was a mass or something in her chest. So we had to stop the search, take her off. So sometimes people are taken off permanently, temporarily, deferred, medically deferred, permanently medically deferred. But we've actually helped. I mean, sometimes, us men, we don't go to the doctor a lot. So when we end up getting a really extensive medical thing, they can find things out again. So we're here to make sure that it's safe for everyone. Yeah, but they'll go through that.
All right, thanks, Cliff. Well, so far, I'm not seeing many other questions in the chat. I'm not seeing any other hand raises. I'll give it a minute here just in case there's any other last minute questions that come through. But we just got one, but I just want to make sure all of you guys, I hope you're able to pull up the chat and look at it, especially Dorian, lots of love for you in the chat. So I hope you've been seeing that. Dathan also asks, are there any antiquated rules against MSM, like with blood donations?
So actually, that's an interesting question. Thanks for bringing that up. So it was kind of piloted years ago, and the FDA is really tough, but the answer to the question is yes. So we invite every community to get involved with Be the Match. So you can join the registry. We'll go through the process, and then we'll test you at the time you're needed. So we realize, and it's like anybody's at risk for any kind of disease, right? So we'll actually test you at the time needed. But now we have opened this up several years ago where anybody can join the registry. So when we invite every community, please get involved, share that. You may not be able to donate blood because, again, the FDA is very strict, but we do further testing than if you're going to just donate blood. And that's why all communities can join this registry now.
Wonderful, thanks. And Cliff, the responses, that helps widen the net and answer the question. So thank you. Well, I'm going to throw up on the screen one more time that link for UW. You can go to, it says screen sharing pause. There we go. You can go to join.bethematch.org/UW. That is our direct UW link. Definitely, if you're from the UW community and you're going to be sharing any information with friends and family, please share that link. We want to see how much of a fire we can spread from our community. Obviously, however you join is what matters, but it would be really awesome to really just blow up our Husky representation on the registry. You can also text CURE16 to 61474. I don't know if any of you guys are like me. I always do these backwards. I'll put the number in the text and so you do the 61474 first and then the CURE16 in the message. Alexis, Dorian, Ty, Cliff, thank you guys all so much for being here. Would any of you guys like to, say anything to close us out? I see Alexis, you just unmuted.
Yeah, and I want to thank you so much for helping to organize this. We had that amazing event in 2019, and we will come back and do that next year when we can all be in person. But holding this event and thanking all the people who showed up tonight when we're zoomed out, but showed that you really care. We appreciate you, and we really do hope you'll reach out to 10 people to find the match for Dorian and find the match for so many other people. What Ty said about time, I've gotten almost 5 years, September 21st, think of me, because that's 5 years. And that, if I die next year, that 5 years meant so much in my life, and you can give someone time, and that's the biggest thing. I also want to thank Lauren Updike with the whole U for her work over the years with this project. Cliff, thank you so much, and Christine for connecting me with Dorian. We met on a panel for UCLA actually a couple months ago. And I'll say this for myself. I won't say it for anybody else on the panel, but if you have an organization where you can raise awareness with large groups, I'd be happy to come and volunteer time to share my story and help advocate for people getting on the registry. Whatever you need, whatever information, let's find folks to be the match to save lives and be real superheroes. So thank you. Dorian or Ty?
I'll just again thank everyone for taking the time to spend with us tonight, to educate yourselves, to receive this information, hopefully sign up, but most importantly, sign up and share the information. Again, as Ty said earlier, and I kind of reiterated, just meditate on this. It should definitely resonate with anyone who has any ounce of compassion within them. And just think about it. If it were one of your relatives, what would you want?
Ty, you don't have to say anything, but thank you, Sarah. Your words and what you've done, you literally are a superhero, and I really, really appreciate you personally, and UW appreciates you and Be the Match as well. So thank you for your time tonight, and Cliff as well.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Well, we will definitely keep you on our mailing list for when we're back on campus. Please, as we've said a million times, go share. This is being recorded. So once we get it finalized and we'll put it up on our YouTube, we will make sure and share the link with you. So, if there's a certain part that really struck a chord with you, or you just want to send the whole video to all your friends and family, please do so. Will be in your inbox. All right, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of it's Monday, a great rest of your Monday. And go enjoy, whether you're on the West Coast or East Coast. We have some sunshine here still. So, all right, guys. Bye.